Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Sane Beyond and Through with Monty. How many of you remember this young lady by the name of Treasure, who tried to get famous by going on the Dr. Phil show, stating that she was a black supremacist who hated black people? Now, this was around 2 years ago. Basically, she wanted to become a meme. The racist black teen featured on Dr. Phil is a fraud, according to her sister. So basically, she went on there telling how much she hated black people, despised black people, did not like being black, was a member of the KKK, had them on speed dial. So her sister came forward and stated that it was a lie. It was all a fraud. Basically, what Treasure was trying to do is that she was trying to ride the coattails of Bad Baby. And she wanted to become famous like Bad Baby. So she created this whole persona. Which is what we're going to get into today. Now, I did this video about 2 years ago when Kevin Samuels was first getting famous. It was after this whole thing, your average at best video in which she called in. And I had stated 2 years ago that I felt it was a staged hoax. That I felt like a lot of times when people do call in or go online, a lot of it's fake. A lot of it's for show. A lot of it's not real. A lot of it's to move to the next level. But before I go on, I want you to hear Kevin in his own words stating what he needs to do to move to the next level.
Don't want to hear that truth. We just don't. If I come on here talking about, female nature, such and so forth, and if I would start bashing women or talking noise, oh man, the likes and everything will go through the roof.
So there you go. Out of Kevin Samuels' own mouth. He had a plan. And he knew what he had to do to make it to the next level. And making it to the next level, to become big, the superstar of YouTube, he had to put down, belittle, defame black women. You heard him say that. So the question would be, how much of this was real? How much of this was fake? I'm going to say 50-50. I'm going to say a lot of what he was saying was garbage. That he didn't really believe that. That he tapped into something that others wanted to hear. That basically he put on a show. He was a showman. He was acting. He was pretending to be the mean guy of YouTube. Yes, he was the black YouTube version of Simon Cowell. And it's unfortunate that that particular persona caught on, and it worked, and it propelled him to the next level. Now, this next caller, I want you guys to pay careful attention, because a lot of times when you're a showman, what you do is that you have things scripted out and you have things written out for a ready response. And this response right here is to kind of make people gasp, to make them laugh, to bring controversy, to bring kind of like, oh my God, moment. And this was one of these right here, but it was a good one. But just pay attention and tell me if you really think that this was real.
You got a big dick?
Huh?
You have a big dick?
I mean, it's above average. I ain't no Ron Jeremy.
No. I asked you if you had a big dick. I didn't say it was above average.
I don't know what that is, really.
Nigga, you know if you got a big dick or not. Stop the bullshit. Every dude know whether or not he got a big dick. I know I got a big dick. You don't know?
I mean,
you don't have a big dick. That's the point. You don't have a big dick. You don't have a big wallet. You're a fat dude. You got a lot of nerve thinking you should get choosing signals at 5'10" and 300 pounds, making less than $1,000 a month at 20 years old. And women should approach you. What they get, they don't even get a big dick.
And you cannot see how staged that was? That was clearly written. It was clearly to get people to talk. Because Kevin knew that controversy sells. And Kevin at that particular point really had nothing to lose. He had everything to gain. Why not play on things that people speculated about? He knew that people speculated about his sexuality. This man was very smart when it came to marketing himself. And he knew that people would take that and run. So he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what he needed to do. He knew exactly the right avenues to take. And I'm not mad at him for that. This is not a put-down video about Kevin. I think to some degree he knew how to market. He was a marketing genius. He really was. And those callers, yes, some were real, some were faked, some were staged, some were people I speculate that he knew, that he told them what to say, and based upon what he told them what to say, he had certain things or a script written for that particular call. Plain and simple. And people need to understand about YouTube, about YouTubers. Is that evil what Kevin did as far as the callers go? Yes and no. I do think that you got to be cognizant of the image or things that you're saying about certain people. But I do believe at the same time in token, YouTube is many times meant for entertainment. It's a show. Kevin was a showman. He was to some degree an entertainer, providing, some would say, a comic relief at the expense of a very vulnerable group of people, black women. But I do believe that that was not the real Kevin. I do believe that he did not believe some of what he was saying. As I stated before, controversy sells. But I also believe too that he knew that he could only take this particular persona so far, that eventually he was going to nicen up and be more like his genuine self, because this persona right here would have kept him on YouTube. And we know that Kevin wanted to move to the next level. He wanted to go mainstream. So in order to get to a level like a Steve Harvey, where you're making something like $50 million, $100 million, you would have had to have a different message. You cannot stay within the YouTube message or the YouTube sphere of putting down or degrading black women. Steve Harvey didn't do that. And I think that Kevin knew that YouTube was only for a limited time, a limited space, limited income. And for you to be invited to the Met Gala, award shows, you would have had to have changed your message and moved to some degree beyond YouTube. Kevin knew all this, but many of us did not. And we were fooled into thinking that this was real, when in fact, much of it was all an illusion. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.